Why didn't anyone teach you this in school? Why has something so essential to your existence, your true creative power, been left out of every classroom, every textbook, every official version of reality? The answer isn't simple, but it's also not accidental. Throughout history, humanity has suffered a quiet but profound loss. The forgetting of who we truly are. Not because of some sinister conspiracy lurking in the shadows, but because of a gradual, collective amnesia. A forgetting that took root when we began to separate science from spirit, mind from heart, knowledge from wisdom. Once, long ago, this wisdom was known. In the temples of ancient Egypt, initiates studied the laws of energy, vibration, and the creative power of thought. In the mystery schools of Greece, students explored the inner worlds as reflections of the cosmos. And in the East, sages passed down techniques not just to calm the mind, but to awaken the architect within. And now, in our time, something remarkable is happening. Quantum physics, neuroscience, and consciousness studies are converging. Not to give us something new, but to remind us of something ancient. That reality isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you participate in intimately, invisibly, continuously, with every thought, every emotion, every frequency you hold. And yet, no one told you. Why? Because the world you were raised in trains you to conform, not to create. To react, not to observe. To consume reality, instead of shaping it. But once you begin to question, something awakens. Because the moment you question what's real is the moment you remember that you are the one creating it. This isn't just another think positive message. This is a journey into the hidden architecture of your life. A reactivation of the most powerful truth you've ever known, that the universe doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. And if you've ever felt there must be more than what meets the eye, you're right. You're not broken. You're not lost. You're simply remembering. You are awakening. Imagine this. You were born with an extraordinary ability, the power to create reality itself, not through force or logic, but through the quiet, unseen force of your consciousness. But from your earliest days, no one told you. No one looked you in the eye and said, "You are a creator." Your thoughts shape energy. Your emotions tune the universe. Instead, they handed you a story. A story that said the world is something outside of you, fixed, objective, unchangeable. That life is about survival, not creation, and that your role is to adapt, obey, and endure. And so, the Great Amnesia began. But it wasn't always this way. Thousands of years ago, civilizations understood what modern science is only beginning to rediscover. In the temples of ancient Egypt, initiates studied mental alchemy and energetic precision. In the sacred rites of Eleusis, seekers were guided to experience the cosmos not as something out there, but as something mirrored within. And in the East, breath, visualization, and meditative focus were not escapes from reality. They were the controls of reality itself. These weren't myths or metaphors. They were technologies of consciousness, teachings passed down through silence, symbol, and sacred initiation. But over time, the wisdom faded, not by accident, but by design. Power structures found it safer to govern a humanity that had forgotten its own power. Science and spirit were divorced. Mysticism was labeled superstition. And the divine creative capacity within each being was buried under systems of fear, guilt, and hierarchy. Even today, the amnesia persists. We're taught that we are fragile bodies in a mechanical universe, that the brain produces the mind, and that consciousness is a side effect rather than the source. But there's a part of you that never fully believed that story, a whisper inside you that says, "This can't be all there is." And that whisper is not a fantasy, it's memory. It's the vibration of an ancient truth still echoing in your DNA. We are like magicians who've forgotten their spells, wizards asleep in their own castles. But the magic never left. It's still here, encoded in your being, waiting for you to remember. And when you do, when that spark ignites, reality begins to respond in ways you were never taught to expect. Because remembering isn't just mental, it's vibrational. It's the moment when something clicks, not in your thoughts, but in your soul. And after that moment, nothing is ever the same again. For centuries, traditional science taught us a limited view of ourselves. It claimed that consciousness was nothing more than a side effect of the brain, an illusion created by neurons firing in the dark, an accidental spark in a cold, mechanical universe. But recent discoveries are turning that narrative inside out. And what's emerging is nothing short of revolutionary. Quantum physics changed everything. In the renowned double-slit experiment, particles of light and matter, electrons, don't behave like fixed objects. Instead, they behave as waves of potential until someone observes them. Only then do they collapse into a particular state, a fixed position. In other words, reality waits for the observer before it decides how to behave. This isn't spiritual poetry, it's experimental science, and it forces us to ask a radical question. If observation affects reality, who or what is the observer? The answer is simple. You are. Not just your eyes or brain, but your conscious awareness, your presence, your attention. The very act of observing, of focusing your awareness, changes outcomes, which means your attention isn't passive, it's creative. But the story goes even deeper. Your body has another kind of brain, the heart. And it's not just a metaphor. The heart has its own nervous system, its own intelligence. Its electromagnetic field is not only real, it's up to 60 times more powerful than that of the brain. And when your thoughts, mind, and emotions, heart, are in coherence, when you feel what you intend, and your biology aligns with your vision, you enter a powerful quantum state of creation. In that state, your intentions stop being abstract desires. They become frequencies, vibrations that the quantum field can respond to. Because here's the secret. The quantum field doesn't respond to your words, or even your goals. It responds to your state of being. This redefines what it means to ask the universe for something. You're not begging. You're not waiting. You're collapsing a possibility, a version of reality, into form through the coherence of your internal energy. But this also brings a deeper responsibility. If your consciousness shapes reality, what are you shaping when you're not conscious? Every habitual thought, every looping emotion, every unconscious belief is creating too. Even silence has a frequency. Even autopilot has consequences. You're generating your reality 24/7, whether you realize it or not. Awakening, then, isn't about gaining some new cosmic ability. It's about becoming aware of the power that's always been active and finally choosing to direct it. Because when you do, the universe begins to echo that choice back to you. If the universe is made of energy, and you are energy too, then there must be a shared language between the two of you. Not a language of words, not a language of logic, but a vibrational one. Because in the quantum field there are no nouns or verbs, only frequencies, only signals, only resonance. Every thought you think carries a frequency. Every emotion you feel radiates a vibration, and every intention you hold broadcasts an energetic signature into the fabric of space-time. You are constantly emitting a signal, a vibrational code, and the quantum field, this invisible web of infinite potential, responds not to what you say, but to what you are. This is the key most people miss. Wanting something isn't enough. Because if your desire is rooted in lack, the signal you're sending is still lack. You can visualize wealth, but if your emotional baseline is fear or doubt, you're still broadcasting scarcity. And the field, like a loyal mirror, reflects exactly that. So the question becomes, how do you speak the language of the universe? The answer, through vibrational coherence. When your thoughts are aligned with your feelings, when your words align with your actions, when your inner and outer worlds speak the same frequency, you enter a state of magnetic power. In that state, the message you send is no longer fragmented or confused. It's clear, focused, resonant. There are 3 foundational keys to this vibrational alignment, state of being. It's not about thinking what you want. It's about becoming the version of yourself who already lives it, not someday. Now, you shift your identity, and your energy follows. Felt visualization. Don't just close your eyes and imagine. Feel the scene in your body. What would it feel like if it were real right now? The more real it feels internally, the faster it imprints onto the field. Anticipatory gratitude. Be thankful in advance. Because in the quantum realm, cause and effect collapse. Gratitude is not a reaction, it's a creative force. When you feel grateful before receiving, you signal that it already exists. This is the real art of manifestation, not forcing, not striving, but resonating. And yet, even when you apply this perfectly, there's one more layer, one final piece that can either amplify or block your power. Because beyond the signals you send, there's something deeper still shaping your reflection. And that is what the quantum mirror reveals. Your entire life, you've been taught a simple equation. The world causes, you respond. Reality is something that happens outside of you, and your job is to adapt. But what if that equation was backward? What if the events, people, and conditions around you are not causes at all, but effects? Quantum physics, ancient spirituality, and modern transpersonal psychology all converge on one startling truth. Reality doesn't happen to you. It reflects you. This means your outer world, your relationships, your health, your finances, your circumstances are not random accidents. They are vibrational feedback, not mirrors of what you consciously want, but of what you unconsciously hold. And yes, that can be deeply uncomfortable, because if the root of your pain isn't out there, you can't blame your past. You can't control others. You're left with only one direction to look, inward. But that is where the liberation begins. Because if you're projecting your reality, then you also hold the key to change it. Enter the quantum mirror. The universe seen through this lens is not just a stage. It's a living, intelligent reflection of your inner state. Every encounter, every challenge, every synchronicity is showing you something about your own consciousness. It reveals your deep beliefs, your emotional patterns, your unresolved wounds, not to shame or punish you, but to help you remember what you've forgotten, because patterns don't repeat to torment you. They repeat to be seen, to bring what is unconscious into the light. And here's the miracle. When you shift within, the external world shifts without effort. Not because the universe rewards you, but because you are no longer vibrating at the same frequency as the old reflection. It's like changing the film in a projector. The screen doesn't need to be forced. You just update the source. Stories of this kind of transformation are everywhere. A woman releases decades of stored grief, and her chronic illness disappears. A man forgives someone he swore he never would, and his financial situation shifts in weeks. The outer doesn't change first. The inner does. And in that space, something profound is born. Radical self-responsibility. Not blame, not guilt, but the deep awareness that you are not a passive receiver, you are the source code. So instead of reacting to your life, you begin to observe it. You decode the symbols. You rewrite the energy. Because reality is not a prison, it's a mirror. And once you understand that, you stop fighting the reflection and start redesigning the original image, which brings us to the next phase. If the world is a mirror, how do you consciously reshape the reflection? That's the doorway to your next level of power, activating the conscious creator mode. Remembering your power is only the beginning. The next step, the most sacred one, is applying it. Activating conscious creator mode doesn't mean controlling every detail of reality. It's not about manipulating outcomes or forcing perfection. It means tuning yourself, your frequency, your state of being, deliberately, consistently, powerfully. It's about waking up from unconscious creation and stepping into intentional design. So how do you do that in real life? You begin with the invisible architecture of your day. 1. Quantum routines. Bookend your day with coherence. Each morning, before you check your phone, before your thoughts get hijacked by the world, place your hands on your heart. Breathe. Feel. Visualize the day already fulfilled, not just mentally, but emotionally. Feel the gratitude of already living the timeline you desire. At night, pause before sleep. Reflect not with judgment, but with awareness. What vibration did I live in today? Which version of me was in charge? Each review is a recalibration. 2. Sustained focus. Your attention is your most sacred currency. Where it flows, energy grows, so protect it. Choose thoughts that uplift, images that empower, conversations that nourish. Speak as the version of you who already lives in alignment. You're not here to chase alignment. You're here to become alignment. 3. Dissolving the old self. You can't create a new world through the identity that built the old one. Each time you react in the same old way, you revive the same old timeline. But each time you respond from a new vision, you're reprogramming your field. You're collapsing new possibilities into form. You're telling the quantum field, I am no longer that version. Transformation is not about fixing what's broken, it's about upgrading what's remembered. And this is the truth most people miss. The future isn't something to predict, it's something to tune into. You're not here to repeat patterns, you're here to initiate new realities, realities that have never been lived before. And you're not alone. Across the planet, millions are awakening to this same truth. That consciousness, emotion, and energy are the building blocks of life. That science, spirit, and self are not separate, but one. This is not a trend. This is a remembering. You're not here to control the universe. You're here to collaborate with it. Not from fear, but from your highest frequency. You are not a victim of destiny. You are the origin point of infinite timelines. And the world isn't waiting for more answers. It's waiting for you to remember. Truth was never hidden. It was only veiled by distraction, by repetition, by a system that taught you to look everywhere but within. We were told we were small, separate, limited, but those were never facts, just inherited beliefs. Now something ancient is stirring within you because you've remembered what they told you to forget. That consciousness isn't a side effect, it's the source. That the world isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. And that you weren't born to survive. You were born to create. Your power isn't in some distant future, it lives here, now. In the breath you choose to make sacred, in the thoughts you stop believing, in the emotions you finally feel, in the vision you no longer postpone. You are not here to wait for the light. You are the light. You are the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the spark between the eternal and the human, the soul behind the eyes. And your life, this very moment, is the sacred canvas where that spark becomes form. So look again, not at the world, but at yourself, with new eyes, with a new vibration, with the deep knowing that you are not someone lost in the fog. You are the one remembering the fire, and now that you remember, what will you create?